Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Diana and I'm connecting the dots between different areas of the spiritual journey and the healing journey, and I'm trying to ignite the spark within you to look for these overlapping structures yourself. Today we're going to talk about people pleasing, and this is a topic that I had created a video earlier on, but it was a very bad quality and I couldn't upload it. So I decided to make another one, which is also upgraded with additional insights, and I'm going to share my own experience with overcoming people pleasing, because the last couple of weeks, even months, but especially the last couple of weeks have been a complete turnover in my life. And people pleasing is not just behind my back, but I've come to the realization that one of the most straightforward and sometimes even ruthless people are the people who had been through people pleasing and overgiving and sacrificing themselves and their own emotional needs for the sake of others and didn't receive the same. So the people that are ex-people pleasers are one of the most authentic people out there, because they know the price of not just people pleasing, but shrinking yourself and making yourself smaller and not in your full expression to make others comfortable. And this is not how we are meant to live. This is not why we came for. First of all, you are not a people pleaser by nature. People pleasing is a defense mechanism. This is a protection layer, because somewhere in your childhood, highly likely, you were not accepted as who you were, and you had to become someone, even something else, for you to receive not just approval and acknowledgement and love and care and emotional attunement, but to have your basic human needs met. And physical needs as well, because as children we are completely dependent on our caregivers, whether it's the parents or grandparents or someone else. We are dependent on these people, and I mentioned that in the previous video also. Children can read signs, they can read facial expressions, and they can see and feel also if the parent or the caregiver is not pleased. This is why we say people pleasing. If the caregiver was not pleased with who the child was and how the child behaved, so the child learns to mold themselves into being someone else, which means cutting parts of yourself, denying parts of yourself, abandoning parts of yourself, rejecting part of yourself, respectfully the child, in order to belong, in order to, again, the topics of the root chakra, in order to be accepted, in order to survive. Because to your nervous system, to the nervous system of a child, being a part of the tribe, being a part of the group equals survival. As I already said, the child cannot meet their needs alone, so it needs to fit in. But these patterns remain intact, not just in our childhood, but they form the way, they shape our personality. Again, the coping mechanism, the mask, the social mask especially, because the first connection to the other, the first relation to the other, which is the caregiver, especially the mother, we already discussed that in the previous video, is also how we relate to others as adults, how we form relationships, but also how we form social relationships, what we deem acceptable, how much we allow ourselves to be who we are. It's very complicated, because during our childhood, this is a subconscious process. This is not something that the child realizes, and this is how the shadow begins to form, because every part of you that is rejected, including by you, but also by the people around you, or abandoned or disowned, and being perceived and treated as unacceptable, unlovable, undesirable, wrong, forbidden, all of that is still a part of yourself. You cannot cut yourself into pieces and choose what pieces you want to be. You cannot just choose pieces to build someone that you want to be. These parts of you that were abandoned, rejected, etc., they remain in the subconsciousness, they remain in the shadow, and the more rejected and suppressed they are, the more visible they are to the people around you, because we cannot escape the shadow. The shadow work is going to be a whole series, probably a whole topic on this channel later on. But when we talk about alchemy, I had already discussed this process. The nigredo, or this is the process of falling apart and then picking the parts and building someone and something new. This is another topic. This is not choosing to suppress the shadow. No, actually, in order to go through that process of building a new you need to choose the pieces of your shadow, because there is no wholeness without the shadow. There is no light without the darkness, and we are not meant to pick pieces of ourselves. We are meant to embody the wholeness, and it's the most uncomfortable thing on this planet, because owning your darkness doesn't mean turning your shadow into a saint. It means that you are very aware of how dark you can be. You are very aware of your dark tendencies, such as, for example, narcissistic tendencies, or manipulation, or possessiveness, or jealousy, or controlling, or power dynamics that are unhealthy, envy, rage. There are many different parts. Wanting to compete with others. These are natural parts of the human nature, or even the more animalistic, not always, but also part of the animalistic part of the human soul and the human nature. And again, the purpose is not to disown these parts and to say, no, I'm so holy and so light and so I don't have dark tendencies, even though people refuse to face their darkness because it's terrifying and it's very uncomfortable and very I wouldn't say humiliating, because it's not humiliating, but it's very humbling. It's very humbling to realize that no, you have these dark tendencies, and these dark tendencies can be triggered by other people, because in relationships we use other people, and also situations, not just people, but mostly people and relationships as mirrors. And usually the people that poke your weak spots, the people that awaken your demons, they are your greatest blessings, because they're forcing you to face yourself. Whether it's someone that you feel threatened by, or you feel jealous of, or someone that makes you feel inferior, or makes you feel small, makes you feel inadequate. These are all parts of the shadow, and also the shadow holds one of the greatest powers. And again, the parts of ourselves, the pieces of ourselves, the aspects of ourselves, even our specific archetypes, they are not in the shadow just because they are wrong. They were just denied, and sometimes people deny and reject the best parts of you because it makes them, again, it awakens their shadow. It makes them feel inadequate. It makes them feel afraid. It makes them feel small. It makes them feel unrelatable, or anything. It might be anything, or they want to compete. Again, this is not something wrong. If the person owns that and doesn't try to bring you down, doesn't send their ill energy towards you, it's nothing wrong. If everybody owns their shadow, accepts it, realizes that it's there, it's not going to be a problem. The problem is that people deny it. The problem is that people try to present themselves as someone perfect, as someone who is love and light, for example, or someone who is so very poised and in control of themselves and very peaceful. And again, it might be hidden behind the mask of the people pleaser. The people pleasing wound, the people pleaser wound is so deep. One of the main reasons why it's so deep is because you were taught by it might have not been said directly, but by the behaviors of your caregivers, this had been communicated that who you are is not lovable. And this is one of the greatest wounds. Who you were was not worthy. This is how you perceived it. This is how you internalized it. Because these parts of you, your expression, even sometimes your childish behavior, expectations of you to be more mature, to be perfect, to be responsible. You were not meant to be responsible as a child. This is what an adult does. And a lot of people with heavy Saturn influence, for example, or Plutonic influence, they go through a lot of these pains. A lot of especially the Saturnian people go through a lot of heaviness related to you must be perfect, you must be mature, you must grow up quickly, we rely on you, and you must be emotionally responsible for other people's as well. Because trying to, if you think about it, trying to not make your parents angry, this is, for example, where the problems with dealing with conflict come from. If you, as a child, were very opinionated, if you had strong opinions or strong energy, and you used to be rebellious, and your parents crushed that within you because you were punished, you were met with rejection, abandonment, power, like people trying to overpower you, people trying to nitpick your weaknesses. It makes conflict feel unsafe, and this message is stored in your nervous system. That is one of the main reasons why I already talked about it in a couple of videos. Nervous system work is also heavy shadow work, and it's also inner child work, and it's also emotional healing. They are like this. You cannot separate one from the other. And it is also how they also related to holistic health and to healing physical illnesses and physical problems and symptoms, because they come from emotional problems. Not all sicknesses, not all physical problems are related to emotional. There are other factors that have an influence, but a lot of them. For example, women are much more prone to suffer from autoimmune diseases. And women, little girls, I also taught that in one of my first videos. We little girls were taught to be servient, to be there for people, to be the healers, to be the peacemakers, to sacrifice themselves, to be mates, and to be the emotional care for others. But who took care of you? Who was there for you? Who is there for you? And especially the women who associate themselves with the role of the healer. How many people made the effort in your life to heal you, to give you what you gave to other people, to be there for you, to be your emotional safety, to be your emotional harbor, to be your emotional shelter? How you did for other people, and especially the people that you did it for. How many of them betrayed you? How many of them made you feel, even punished you for that with their behavior? They made you regret it. I'm sure that you had a lot of experiences like that. People pleasing comes from the learned behavior of you trying to and doing everything in your power as a child to mold yourself into the shape that your parents want you to be. For them to give you their conditional love, acceptance, affection, emotional attunement, emotional connection, approval, praise. It might be many, many things. And you start turning yourself into someone you are not, but you are expected to be. And you start losing yourself. And this is one of the greatest. There are three, from my experience, three main big signs of people pleasing that a people pleaser cannot escape from. First of all, they feel a lot of shame from who they are, and this is why they try to be, and they feel very lost, because if you don't own who you are, you cannot be grounded in your being, and you are constantly searching. You're constantly trying to look for yourself in people's eyes, in their nodding. Yes, you are a good person. Yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are special. Yes, you are lovable. Yes, you are, blah, blah, blah. But you will never receive that unless you are who you are, because people, it's a game. It's literally like a game. This is why I posted also yesterday, this world is a game. Relationships are a game. I'm not saying that love doesn't exist and that love-based relationships don't exist, but even soulmates, even people who are very highly connected on the soul level, they meet for a reason. There are very few people on this planet, in also twin flames, there are very few real twin flames on this planet. Most people are completely delusional, but a soulmate connection is usually meant to help you clear some karma or face yourself on a deeper level. And when both of the souls do the shadow work, do the emotional healing, they can create magic, and it's so beautiful and it's so pure. But again, it is the experience of the divine. The highest form of connection is the connection to the divine, and we can meet the divine in other people. That's what makes it so special and beautiful. The second big sign is hidden anger and resentment. And this is a completely normal reaction, because the lack of authenticity and suppressing yourself, suppressing your expression, your opinion, trying to make yourself acceptable and likable, and it's not even about being likable. I've never experienced people pleasing in a form of, oh, I want to be liked by people, oh, what I would. No, it's about survival. It's about if I don't create the peace here, and there is a difference between a peacemaker and a people pleaser. And I used to not be able to differentiate between the two, because I'm a natural peacemaker. I dislike conflict. I thrive in peaceful environments. And it's very related to human design, by the way. I will talk about it in the future, because human design is fascinating to me. But I used to be afraid of conflict. I didn't just dislike conflict. I was unable to engage in conflict in a healthy way, because for me, conflict meant to freeze and to not be able to protect myself. And now, after healing people pleasing and owning my shadow, I'm like, I'm gonna be the peaceful one. But if you want to not be peaceful, I'll give you that. There's no problem. And this is why the magic of healing people pleasing is so beautiful to me, because it feels like this is how it feels. You're like, the inner child, your inner child, the child within you can finally feel protected, because it feels safe with you. The child in you can feel, yes, they're going to protect me. I don't have to hide myself in the corner waiting and trying to make myself less noticeable and so small so others don't attack me. Because now if someone attacks you, you bite back, and you bite without, I'm not saying that you are looking for conflict or that you want to be engaged in conflict, but you are prepared and you're ready and you don't fear it anymore. And I'm not going to lie to you, it takes a lot of, for me it took brutal pain, humiliation. It took swallowing so much to the point of not being able to swallow anything anymore. Like one little thing, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I'm gonna engage you, I'm gonna confront you, I'm gonna hold you uncomfortable, because I used to let everything slide. I used to be like, oh, but they are also hurt. Oh, their inner child is so in pain. What about my inner child? What about me? Because I used to not, I was, oh, I'm healed and I'm emotionally aware, and this is why I see that they're wounded as well. They don't see me how I could see them. Okay, that's their problem. do the work. I'm not supposed to do the work for you. Do the work. And also, this is how you heal people way more, because you force them to heal. Even it's just a minor interaction with someone in the shop, or on the street, a random person. A lot of people go through life getting away with everything, with a lot, maybe not everything. And karma would not let you get away with anything, but a lot of people get away with a lot because other people in their life enable them. They let them. And I used to be one of those people. But now it's such a pleasure when I don't do that. It's such a pleasure with someone who is obviously toxic or abusive in some way, or they try to bring other people down, is now confronted. And I'm the one who confronts them. And it feels as if I'm protecting my inner child, as if I'm standing in front of my inner child. I'm saying, wait, you're not gonna be hurt anymore. No, I'm here, baby. I'm here, and I'm gonna do this for you. I don't care about their feelings now, because if they try to be abusive, why should I care about people's feelings? If they try to lie, if they try to be sneaky, if they try to give me underhanded comments or dirty looks, why should I try to protect their inner child or their feelings? You are looking for that, I'm gonna give it to you. And again, this is something that came after so much humiliation. And this is why I say people pleasers have a lot of resentment, but it's resentment mainly against yourself, because you know that you're not doing what is right for you, for your inner child. You know that you're betraying yourself, and there is no greater pain, no greater betrayal pain of you betraying yourself, because people that betray themselves usually have the betrayal wound. And so you continuing that betrayal wound it weighs you down. It's heavy. It suffocates you from within. And I already said that, maybe I think in a previous video, maybe on my Patreon, about the herbs. The liver and the gallbladder are going to pay the price. The liver is the emotional center, and also the I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm going to put the name. But the gallbladder and the liver and this third organ pay the price. And another huge pain, another huge wound in the people pleasing is that being who you are was not safe for you in your childhood. So now authentic expression and being who you are boldly feels like a threat. It feels like you would be punished for that. You would be, and this might also be related to past life wounding, for example, the witch wound. But this is a whole other topic. And again, past life wounding, and emotional childhood wounding, it's ancestral wounding. They're very linked, and this is a very individual journey. There is no universal formula for that. You must dive deeper into your own journey. This is why I say combine human design with your natal chart, with your matrix of death, and another matrix of death. I had a storage problem, but what I wanted to say is that you should try to decode your own path by knowing your natal chart with aspects, homes, houses, and signs and degrees of the aspects, and so many other details. The astrology is huge, but then we have the matrix of destiny, and we have human design, which is, for me again, so fascinating and so exact and so on point. And then we have numerology, the numerology of your life path number, the tarot arcana that are related to that life path number, the palmistry, the facial features, and the numerology of your name, and the ancestral loops related to your name. It's very deep. You can choose what calls you. You can choose what is your path. I usually, again, this is my task in this channel. I try to combine them all to give you the whole picture, but we also have the alchemy, and we have herbalism, and we have the occult, and it's huge, it's vast, and the best part of it is that it's super interconnected. I have created a whole journal on people pleasing, and I'm going to upload it on my Patreon as well. I created it back in November or December. It's very detailed. Next time I will talk about it more, but it's packed with, again, practices, a lot of journal prompts for self-knowledge, and also how to deal with people pleasing, everything that helped me, breathing exercises, the self-reflection journal prompts, everything that helped me guide myself out of people pleasing. I have summarized it. I will tell you more about it next time. This is for today. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and maybe I will create a part 2, because there is always more insight after I make a video and I'm like, I had to say that as well and that as well. But step by step, building that. I hope to see you next time.